Why are South Texas breakfast tacos better than the California burrito, in my opinion? They're both similar, but as you can see, very different. So this right here, I grew up on this stuff. They usually came like this. This was the breakfast. You can go to a gas station and get these. And the breakfast taco, I think, is something that doesn't get recognized as often as the breakfast burrito. This is something you can find everywhere. I can even find these in Seattle right now where I'm at. And I can't find a breakfast taco where I'm at. So it's kind of hard for me to judge because I grew up on it. I don't know if you can judge, maybe you can make it. Okay, so why this video? You guys really like the breakfast taco video, so I wanted to talk more about these two. It's very controversial, I don't know why. So the South Texas breakfast taco, if you want more in-depth on that, I have a full-on video I just posted on that, which is why I'm making this. The California burrito, on the other hand, it's very popular, very recognized. And I wanted to give you my take on it because I did work at a restaurant where we served California burritos and nachos and all that stuff. We can go into that later. And it was really good. I actually really like it. Now, on one hand, I think this one is more authentic. The California one, yeah, it is Mexican in a way, but I feel like that one's more Americanized. When I say that it's Americanized, I just mean like it's more touched by our culture here in the US. It's got, you know, a cheese seal on the outside. It's got tater tots or French fries. It's got a sour cream or a mayo. And that's good. So I think that is the more, not messed with, but the more touched form of the breakfast taco, which is a little more less messed with. It's more authentic. And that's the one I grew up on, is the South Texas breakfast taco. It's more from, honestly, northern Mexico. Here's my breakfast taco burrito spread. It's all a mix of things that I'm using to make my version of the breakfast taco and the breakfast burrito. We have an array of potatoes, and we have salsas, tortillas, cheeses, and this is the ingredients to make your very own flour tortillas, because I think this is the most important part of the breakfast taco, is to make your own flour tortillas. While as in with burritos, places, they don't make flour tortillas for burritos, so I just went ahead and found these large burrito wraps. I've never really seen people making their own wraps for burritos, but back home, breakfast tacos, they always make the tortillas from scratch, and that's why they're also a lot better in my opinion. Also, I just busted out this beauty. If you guys are long-term subscribers, you might have seen me use this in the past, but the flat top, this is like the best deal for your breakfast burritos. You don't need this, but this is what I'm used to using at the restaurants for the burritos, and you'll see why. One of the commonalities that I've found in the breakfast burrito in California and the breakfast taco is cheese, and that is cheddar cheese. So in my favorite breakfast taco, it's got cheddar cheese or American. Same thing goes with the breakfast burrito. And you might have noticed already in the beginning this really cool cheese seal. I used to do that all the time at one of the restaurants. We would cheese seal our burritos at the end. So it's like a nice crusty cheese seal, keeps the burrito closed, looks cool, looks delicious, tastes delicious, adds a nice crunch to it, but it also goes on the inside of the burrito. Now, when I'm thinking of my components for the California style burrito, obviously I'm not a California person. I'm a Texan at heart, and I live in Seattle now. But I did make these a ton at work, and I just went ahead and I scoured the internet, and I found this guy right here. Let's go ahead and check this out.
The best breakfast burritos in LA. It comes from Cafe Los Feliz. Los Feliz? Los Feliz. The reason I would say this is undoubtedly one of the best is because it's good on its own, but when you add a little bit of that aioli to it, it becomes next level. They put this beautiful slight char on the tortilla. The ratio of ingredients is nearly perfect. You could easily make the argument that this is the best breakfast.
So yeah, I don't know if I could trust this guy because he can't even pronounce Feliz.
Los Feliz?
But you know, I'm not gonna judge based off of that. It looks like a really good burrito. So I'm gonna choose my components to similarly be close to those. So we're gonna do a cheese, we're gonna do a potato, tater tots. Usually it's tater tots or French fries with California burritos. Now the reason for shredding my cheese instead of slicing it is for the cheese seal, but also I would say don't buy the Don't go buy the pre-shredded cheese. The reason is it has like all these coatings on it. Some people even say they have this like wood chip coating, which just sounds disgusting. But the reason is it's going to affect the cheese seal part because it could act all weird because it has like those anti-caking agents on it. So this is why we would pre-shred it ourselves even at work, even though we'd have to shred like these giant 10-pound bricks of cheese at a time with so much cheese. But it's mainly worth it because of what I'm talking about, the anti-caking agents. So just shred your own cheese, just do a little bit. Now on to the papas, the potatoes. Left, right, I've got some Yukon Golds I just roasted off in the oven whole. And these are gonna be the papas for my breakfast taco. This is standard right here. Just give them a little split after they're cooled, and then we can toast them off. I like to just keep a bunch of these in my fridge at a time. For the California burritos, usually you see tater tots or French fries fried off and tossed in the burrito. Now that is freaking delicious to me. That's just the standard for that. I don't really know why they're calling these Yukon Select Puffs. Looks like some fancy organic brand, but that's beyond the point. We got tater tots and we got regular Yukons left and right. So I've got both here, GBD and crispy. I mean, GBD means golden brown and delicious. I see a lot of you guys in the comments asking what GBD means. It's just very simple, golden brown and delicious. So what you could do here is just season your potatoes with a little bit of salt, or what I prefer to do, oh, we got a lost tot there. What I like to do is take some paprika on the potatoes, and then I'll add a touch of citric acid. And now we've got like a spiced sort of brightness to it. So there we go, side by side, our South Texas papas, and then we have our tater tots, which both super delicious. I have a video on papas con chorizo, by the way, my favorite South Texas taco filling, if you want to go ahead and check that out. Now on to what I think screams California. This is something we used to do in our California style burritos. We would make a tapatio sour cream, but I love Valentina. So I'm just gonna do Valentina. Now this right here definitely screams California. This is not something you typically see on a breakfast taco from my hometown, but I think why not? This should be good in a breakfast taco too, but I'm just gonna put it in the burrito just so we have a fair chance for each. And if we saw in the guy's little short, he did put a mayo on it. I'm not gonna go that far, I'm just gonna do a cream. So that's basically it. That's the crema right there, Valentina plus sour cream, or honestly any favorite hot sauce that you have of yours. And for the salsa for my South Texas breakfast taco, it's gotta be the breakfast salsa. It's just the charred tomatoes with the peppers and all that stuff. This is a standard breakfast salsa that's going on that. One of the most important sides that I grew up with was the beans, and probably a lot of you grew up with too. Beans. It's like one of the staples. It's the perfect side, but it can also be a main. And the way I prepare mine for the breakfast taco is I'll refry them, or I'll take the frijoles charros that I made in the past video and I'll just puree them up. And then we've got a standard refried bean. Now here's a cool thing I learned at work. You take that fryer oil and you just drop in some pintos that are already cooked. You can use the canned ones. Drop them in and you fry them off until GBD. There's the word we learned today. And then we're going to just toss them with some garlic salt. Garlic powder plus salt. And that is one of the nicest ways to refry a bean. And so here we go. We've got our refried pintos, and then we have our refried pintos, two different ways. This is a really fun, easy way. I really recommend this, to be honest. I really love frijoles charros, by the way. I'm thinking of doing the contest back home. There's a cooking competition every year, and my Uncle Jesse does it, and he's gotten trophies for it and all that stuff in the past. Let me know if you think I should take you guys with me and do it. It's in February. Just comment down below, go cook with Uncle Jesse, and I'll do it. I'll make it happen. Hopefully we'll win. We'll take a trophy back. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, so now on to the meat portion of this video. I'm using skirt steak here. So I like to cook off skirt steak for the burrito, and then for the breakfast taco, we go with barbacoa, which I already cooked off yesterday. The barbacoa takes a little bit more time, which is why I did this the day prior. If you have a pressure cooker like me, it'll take you probably like 30 minutes or so. Usually we don't have cow's heads in a grocery store, so I like to do the next best thing. I'll do some oxtails mixed with beef chuck, just to get that collagen and that fattiness in there. And I'll braise that off for about an hour in my pressure cooker, and I'm left with the barbacoa. That is a staple back home. Every Sunday, you can find barbacoa at a tortilleria, and everyone and their families, they'll have it every Sunday. It's just a staple. So that's going in my breakfast taco for sure. California, they're gonna do carne asada. Now, up to you if you wanna marinate it. I didn't marinate mine. I just did some salt, pepper, threw it onto the skillet, and then seared it on both sides. Finish it with a little bit of lime juice. Okay, I'm gonna sit down. So California, they've got guac in theirs. Back home, we don't have that. Although I freaking love guac in a taco. And for this one, I'm just keeping it very straightforward. And I'm just gonna do a simple lime and jalapeno for this. I do have a video from back in the day on YouTube that's got like some crazy amount of views. I think it's like 40 million views or something like that. And it's talking about the guac that I grew up with. And it really pissed off a lot of people. So my guac that I grew up with is just straight up salt and lime. That's it. And a lot of people are just saying, well, that's just avocado, that's not guac. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends, to each his own. The one I grew up with didn't have like salsa, it didn't have onions in it, it didn't have garlic or any of that. I mean, it's delicious. That's just not what I grew up with, you know what I'm saying? So this is like the most complicated I'm gonna get with my guac. Just some simple jalapeno in there. I'm not even gonna honestly like chop it up fine. Just gonna toss it in like some nice chunks, chunky chunks, because it's a breakfast burrito at the end of the day. And then maybe a little cilantro as well. By the way, if you didn't know, the stems of the cilantro have all the flavor. I'm sure you already knew that though. You guys are smart. You know what I'm doing. A little bit of that, a little bit of salt. There we go, call it a day. Don't think you need a tutorial on that, but that's my guac for the brekkie taco. I think guac belongs in pretty much every breakfast burrito, why not? Oh, this thing is just to make me feel at home. So this is a really cool technique that I picked up from work at the Cantina Leña. Cheese goes down onto your pan and then you just drop the burrito on top and it'll seal it right up. Just let it crust up before you give it a flip. There we go. I'm not gonna be able to decide, so I need you guys to let me know which one do you think is the best. I'm still leaning towards this one right here. I already know what this tastes like. I love both, to be honest, but I can't really choose.